Stalking has been a crime in all 50 states, US states, since 1990. In 1993, Queensland and Australia brought in the anti-striking law, and other Aussie states have since followed. England and Wales introduced laws in 2012, and the EU required all member states to have one by 2017. But in little old New Zealand, while certain stalking behaviours are illegal, stalking itself is not a crime. In June, after receiving a petition signed by 20,000 people, Justice Minister Paul Goldsmith promised to introduce a bill to Parliament that would criminalise stalking by the end of the year. He said, "We need to send a very clear message that society does not tolerate stalking, and nor does it tolerate sexual violence anywhere across the board." Well, joining me now is criminal defence lawyer Marie Dyhrberg. She will discuss this and some other issues. Marie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah.
So what's your experience, if any, Marie, with clients being stalked?
Well, I've certainly had experience with that sort of conduct, both in the family court and, of course, in the criminal court, because it can come under family violence in the criminal court, and then, of course, you're captured by protection orders. But it's interesting because this justification that we have stalking behaviours, but stalking's not a crime, it's actually, that's, with respect, is illogical. Any crime has defining behaviours that make up a crime. So say, for example, you might have assault. And you then say you punch somebody, you kick somebody, you stab somebody, you steal from property. All these behaviours define what is the crime itself. So you have theft, you have drug use, etc. So we actually do have the laws in place. And I know overseas that they've referred to having stalking laws, but they are places that appear to not have harassment laws, which we do.
Right.
Canada has a harassment act, but they don't need a stalking act, because harassment and stalking, they're both the same thing. And if we look at New Zealand as to what are our laws around harassment, under the Harassment Act that we've got, we have Section 4, which defines the behaviours, the acts that make up harassment, i.e. stalking. Then you turn to Section 8 of that same Act, and that makes harassment a criminal offence. So we have that legislation in place, as does Canada. What I think, though, what we need, we don't need new laws. We seem to rush to get new laws. We seem to have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, and then we either have duplication. We're no better off for anybody understanding what it's about, and then you also have things where people don't know how to respond, or the police don't. There are two really important things, I think, in New Zealand, and we need a really full, thorough education of the public. We can do it in a number of ways. You go into, say, for example, the hospitals now. Then they have signs, you know, what your rights are. You go to your doctor, you go to all sorts of places. You go to the news, you go to all sorts of media. There are articles that they do, and they educate the public to say, you can protect yourself. This is how you protect yourself. Don't muck around. Don't ring the 105 number to the police. That's a waste of time. Turn up at the police station, make a complaint, and insist on your rights, because we also have to educate the frontline police. They can sometimes say, oh, no, this is civil, and you think, no, it's not, it's criminal. And therefore we teach the police and educate the police, treat them seriously. Somebody turns up, they've got harassment, and they are these stalking behaviours. You listen and you deal with it as a criminal offence, because they can lead to, as we know, we've got one case that led to death.
Yes.
And
Well, Marie,
it's all very well
can I just mention her, because you're talking about Fazana Yakubi, who in 2022 was stalked and stalked and stalked, and then he ended up, his stalker killed her. And you just said, like, 1 in 3 Kiwi women say they've been stalked, and you say, go
online.
to the police and say that. Online. But Fazana did. She did go into the police station, and it didn't save her. So I know what you're saying, but you also said that the police can choose to go down a criminal route or get a civil order. So it's kind of like a judgment call on them. So although I agree to agree about, knee-jerk reactions and putting laws in place to put them, wouldn't a dedicated law, wouldn't this make it easier though? I know you say the Harassment Act covers it, but you think it's sufficient?
Yes, I do. And this is why, because when you do turn up to the police station, like her case was so tragic, and she did everything she possibly could, and it fell through the cracks. And it's all very well to say there's only one person responsible, that's who killed her, but that's pretty cold comfort, to the family, because the system let her down. But you're dealing at the front counter sometimes with more junior police officers, and in a lot of ways they don't know. So they have to be really well educated that if because some behaviours will just be harassment, they won't be of the kind that we are looking at that is serious criminal harassment. Online have undergone a lot of education in the last 5 years for the police. It's made a huge difference to how things are treated, and this should become a priority for the police to say, okay, this is what's happening. You've got cyber stalking, that's in place. You don't have to put up with cyber stalking. We have 1 in 3 women online are being stalked. It doesn't matter what label you give us, but you have to hand this on to a police officer, trained police officer, and it's got to go into the criminal basket, and you identify what is that. It's not just a mere, they're hanging around, across the road and looking at my house and doing nothing. No, I mean that could be harassment, but the stalking,
that's still very off-putting.
It's all there. It's following. It's stopping. It's going into their houses. It's giving offensive material to them. It causes them fear. And you see, you can apply, certainly to the family court, if you have a family relationship. The family court can make a protection order. If that gets breached, you are in the criminal court, and you can be in prison up to 3 years. That's the maximum. And I can assure you, truly from experience, breaches of protection orders, without fail, when they come before the court and you've got a client and they might, here's a breach of protection, your heart sinks a bit, because they are really treated very seriously by the judges. And they may well end up on a warning next time they're in jail. And of course, you can go and you can file for a protection order as well at the court. You can get protection orders are serious. You cannot easily just breach those. So we need to educate anybody, men as well, but also mostly women. Don't muck around with a phone call on 105. It won't take you anywhere. Don't turn up and then somebody tell you this is a civil matter. Thump that counter, say, I'm taking this higher. Where's your supervisor today? This is behaviour that's criminal. But we need to educate them both. You can put a new law in,
Marie, what happens if it happens? What if Goldsmith sticks by his metal and goes, right, at the end of this year, bill will go through? Do you think it's just going to be ignored? Is it a good one? Or I suppose you haven't seen it. So.
Yeah,